Hello and welcome GCSE students. My name is Mr. Sidhu and I am here acting as your teacher for this GCSE biology session focusing on the topic of eukaryotic cells. Now, if you know who I am and how these online lessons work, then feel free to skip this portion of the video. But if you are new around here, please note that this session assumes you have already covered the topic of eukaryotic cells in your class. Now, if this isn't true, or you did but you weren't really paying attention, then please use any one of the resources I've linked in the description box down below to get up to speed with this topic before taking on this lesson. Now, there are 5 activities in this online lesson, and each activity has a red and a blue variation. You are more than welcome to choose whichever one you think is best for you, but please note, if your teacher has sent you here for some homework, then please do the colours that they have asked you to do. Each one, red and blue, is good for a specific scenario, so just choose whichever one you think is going to work best for you. Throughout the session, there are also hints which are coloured in orange. Don't be ashamed to use them, but obviously if you don't need to use them, then please try not to use them as you're doing the lesson. And lastly, please look out for purple post-its of progress throughout the session. These purple boxes indicate when you should be engaging in some self-assessment, so every time you see one, grab a separate colour pen and mark your work so that when you come back to review your notes, you are able to see what you did know and what you didn't know, and therefore which areas you should revise. Let's get into the lesson. So here is what today's lesson will look like. We're going to start off looking at what eukaryotic organisms are before jumping into some animal cell structure, some plant cell structure, looking at some organelle function, and then finally finishing off with our fast fire 4 questions. And that is going to be the whole lesson. So 5 things that we're going to be doing in today's class. So question number 1. On screen are 7 organisms. Your task is to identify which of the following organisms are made up of eukaryotic cells. There are red and blue activities, but for this question, they are both the same. So just state your answer and write one sentence explaining your decision. So pause the video here and have a go at answering question 1. And once you've finished, then press play and continue for the answers. If you selected the second one as being an example of an organism which is not made up of a eukaryotic cell, then you are correct. So please remember that all animals, including humans and plants, are made up of eukaryotic cells. Bacteria, however, are made up of prokaryotic cells, and if you don't know what that is, then please watch my video on prokaryotic cells. And just a reminder that a eukaryotic cell are cells which contain a nucleus. So from that you can infer bacteria, which are prokaryotic cells, do not contain a nucleus. So well done if you got that question right. On to question number 2. So on the slide in front of you, you can see an example of an animal cell. Your task is to label the organelles A through E on the animal cell below. If you wish to do the red task, copy out the diagram and label it. And if you wish to do the blue task, just write out a list of your answers. So A equals what, B equals what, C equals what, and so forth. As always, pause the video and have a go, and then play it once you are finished. And here are some orange boxes which are some hints if you need them. So if you were unable to get any of the answers, have a look at the hints here. So I have attached the labels, which are nucleus, cytoplasm, mitochondria, ribosome and cell membrane. So use any one of those labels to fill out any of the letters that you may have missed. And as always, pause the video, finish up with the hints, and when you are ready, press play. And here are the answers to question number 2. So A was the cell membrane, B was the cytoplasm, C was the nucleus, D was the mitochondria, and E was the ribosome. And they are there in purple, so you should be self-assessing your work right now, and a very well done to those of you which got all of them right. And even if you got some wrong, that's okay, just grab a separate colour pen and make the changes that you need to. On to question number 3, very similar as you'll see to question number 2. So for question number 3, you can see a diagram of a plant cell, and this time I want you to label the organelles A through H. Your red activity is for you to copy out the diagram and label it, and your blue activity is for you to write out a list of answers A through H and just write down the name of the organelle next to it. As always, pause the video, have a go at doing it, and play it when you're ready. And if you needed a hint for question number 3, I have now attached all 8 labels, so have a go doing either the red or the blue activity as you were, but this time the labels have been provided. So pause the video and finish off the activity with the hint if you needed it, and if you didn't, then just continue to let the video play. And now the answers for question number 3. A was the cell membrane. Remember, that's the inner of the 2 walls. The mitochondria was B. C was the chloroplast, which contained the green pigment chlorophyll, which is used in photosynthesis. D was the cell wall, which is the outer layer of the plant cell. The E was nucleus, F was ribosome, G was vacuole, and H was indeed the cytoplasm. So as always, well done if you got those right. Please remember they are there in purple, which means you should be self-assessing your work. And now on to the penultimate question, question number 4. So on the left-hand side of the screen, you can see all the organelles found in a plant cell, all 8 of them. Your task is to describe the role played by each organelle. So if you are doing the red activity, what I would like you to do is write out the matching descriptions for each organelle. And if you are doing the blue activity, just match each organelle to the correct number. Okay, as always, pause the video, have a go at completing the activity, and then play it when you are ready. If you're doing the red one, this will take a little while. There's a lot of writing for you to do, but that's okay. So just pause the video and have a go. And now the answers for question number 4. So the site of protein synthesis was indeed the ribosome. The site of aerobic respiration was the mitochondria. The location in the cell which houses all the cell's genetic information, or DNA, was indeed the nucleus. The cell membrane controls what enters and leaves the cell. The cytoplasm is the site of many chemical reactions. The cell wall is made of cellulose, and that is designed to support the cell. The vacuole is filled with cell sap, and the chloroplasts are the site of photosynthesis. And please remember, inside the chloroplasts is the green pigment called chlorophyll, and that is exactly where photosynthesis happens. And if you are unsure on photosynthesis, we'll be creating a video on that very, very soon for you to have a watch over. Now on to our final activity of the class. Question number 5. Great job on making it so far through if you are still here and watching. I know it's been a long old lesson, but please remember that eukaryotic cells are the basis for everything that you will learn in the GCSE biology course. So question number 5, answer the following 4 questions to assess your understanding. There's no red or blue option here, just write them straight out into your book. So 4 questions on the screen, pause the video, have a go answering it, and play it when you are ready to go. So the answer to question number 1, yes, all animals are made up of eukaryotic cells. The easy way to remember that is that you and I are animals and we are made up of eukaryotic cells. For question number 2, the mitochondria is where respiration takes place, or aerobic respiration to be exact. The cell membrane controls what enters and leaves the cell, and plant cells have chloroplast cell walls and vacuoles, whereas animal cells do not. As always, these were in purple, which means you need to be self-assessing your work. And once that is done, I just want to say congratulations on making it to the end of a eukaryotic cell lesson, and I look forward to seeing you in the next lesson. Mr. Sidhu out.